A very good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of Hope TV Newswatch. Hope you had a wonderful day as the rains pelted the capital city and the country is experiencing beautiful weather. My name is Melissa Odor. On the sign language interpretation is Fiona Mweresa. Newswatch begins now. A Crisis the Answer Ministry's presiding Bishop Callisto Dede has weighed in on the GMO debate, questioning the reports of a ship which is said to have already docked in the port of Mombasa with 10 million tons of GMO maize, even before an official gazette notice is released to legally allow imports. This comes after Trade and Investment Cabinet Secretary Moses Kuria said on Monday that a legal notice for the importation of genetically modified maize by millers was due this week. The remarks by CS Kuria on the GMO have brought about a heated debate in the country, with NAK Kenya Party leader Martha Karua castigating the move, stating that the maize importation is a get-rich-quick medium for a few individuals and not a plan to mitigate the ongoing food crisis as proposed. And as Kennedy Kimani now reports, Bishop Callisto has, however, said that it is too early to begin the process of impeaching Trade CS Moses Kuria, even as a section of MPs have threatened to impeach him over the importation.
A day after a section of members of parliament from the maize-growing regions in the country came out publicly threatening to impeach Trade CS Moses Kuria over the decision to allow the importation of GMO maize, the presiding bishop of Sitam has weighed in on the matter, questioning on the reports of a ship which is said to have already docked in the port of Mombasa with 10 million tons of GMO maize, even before an official gazette notice is released to legally allow imports.
As it is right now, from what I understand and my reading, is that there is a ship that has already arrived in Mombasa, docked in Mombasa with GMO food, even before we have actually gazetted the requirements for that or even put it into policies, which means that while it was being announced by the minister, already someone had shipped that consignment. Issues have been raised, especially from the Rift Valley. The fact that it is harvesting time, they've just gone through harvesting period, and then that is when the government brings in maize at cheaper prices. That would totally undercut the farmers in the Rift Valley. I think that's unfair to the farmers, and I think that's a direction that the government should not go.
Pokot South MP David Kosing on Tuesday said that they will begin collecting signatures in a move to garner the support needed to impeach CS Kuria if he doesn't change his stand.
He will be the first cabinet minister to leave office. And he might leave office before the end of this month or before Christmas. If he continues this, we will impeach him. We will collect signatures from tomorrow. If he doesn't change, he will be the first cabinet minister under this administration to go home. He is not above the law or above the people of Kenya.
Bishop Callisto has, however, said that it is too early to begin the process of impeaching Trade CS Moses Kuria, even as he states that the CS could have adopted a more conversational attitude that is more engaging with the people rather than dismissive.
I think it is too early for us to get into situations of beginning to impeach people, but my comment is that the CS himself was fairly arrogant, and his attitude was not a good attitude because it sounded like we are going to do this, upende usipende, and that's not a good attitude. I think he should have adopted a more conversational attitude, an attitude that is more engaging with the people rather than so dismissive. So the CS himself, I think, made a wrong comment, and that attitude doesn't seem to have changed. It seems to be still quite focused in the same direction.
In as much as scientists and experts feel that there's much more to benefit from the GMO maize than their perceived dangers, the issue of GMO has not settled the majority of Kenyans, with a section of MPs from the maize-growing regions stating that they will go to court seeking a prohibition order to stop the importation of GMO maize into the country. Kennedy Kimani, Hope TV Newswatch in Ngong, Kajiado County.
Kenya has secured 120 billion shillings from South Korea to support various development projects. The money will go to health, ICT and agriculture programs, technical training and vocational education, the Sagana Industrial Park, affordable housing, energy, infrastructure and urban transport, Mombasa's Dongo Kundu and Naivasha special economic zones. Speaking at
Africa
Yongsan, President's office in Seoul, where he held talks with his South Korean counterpart Yoon Suk-yeol, President Ruto, who is in Korea for a 3-day official visit, appreciated the support under the Economic Cooperation Development Framework. President Yeol said the government of South Korea will help Kenya to manage the effects of drought. Now, in the evening, the Korean leader hosted a dinner in honor of President Ruto. The two leaders spoke of a new partnership between Korea and Kenya, and by extension, Africa.
Africa is the present and future horizon of opportunity and limitless advantage. By 2050, a quarter of the world's population will be living in the African continent. The African continent is home to the largest reserves of natural resources, renewable energy, and a home to the youngest population in the world, and the place where you have the highest return on investment. All that put together, ladies and gentlemen, makes the African continent the next frontier for development, for business, and for investment. It is an honor this evening to join you at this auspicious occasion marking Korea-Africa relations. The wheels of history are a fair measure of the journey of humankind. Struggles of one generation speaks well of the aspirations of the next. And the success of the past inspires the dreams of tomorrow.
Our parents will now pay extra school fees for their children starting January next year. This follows a decision by the Ministry of Education to abolish the subsidy on school fees put in place in July last year due to a collapsed school calendar that saw learning weeks reduced from 39 to 30 due to the interruptions occasioned by the COVID-19 pandemic. Now, in the new fee structure, parents with children in national and extra county schools will pay 53,554 shillings, up from the current 45,000 shillings per term. Equally, parents with children in boarding county and sub-county schools will pay 40,535 shillings, up from the current 35,000 shillings. Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki has met with elected leaders from Baringo to discuss the security situation in the North Rift region. The meeting, attended by various leaders, among them Baringo Senator William Cheptumo and Tiati MP William Kamket, comes 2 weeks after CS Kindiki held a similar consultative meeting with leaders from West Pokot and Baringo counties. Now, according to the Interior Ministry, the leaders held discussions around ending cattle rustling and banditry in the region and other parts of the country. The CS has similarly sent a stern warning to herders who have reigned terror in Mwengi constituency, Kitui County, urging them to vacate the area or face forceful eviction. Kindiki further encouraged all who possess weapons of any form to utilize them for protection against bandits and not to cause any intentional harm.
Nataka niseme ya kwamba mimi nimetumwa hapa na Mheshimiwa Rais William Ruto ambaye mlipigia kura. Ndiye ameniambia nifike hapa. Ameniambia nikifika hapa niwaambie pole kwanza kabisa kwa sababu ya yale yametendeka, na ya pili niwaambie ya kwamba yeye na serikali ambaye anaongoza itafanya vyovyote vile kurejesha usalama hapa Laikipia na Kenya mzima. Serikali imetangaza vita kali dhidi ya wahalifu na dhidi ya wale watu ambao wanataka kudhuru amani na utulivu wa nchi yetu. Sana sana wezi wa mifugo na wale wafugaji ambao wanafikiria ya kwamba wakati wanatafutia ng'ombe zao malisho, ni lazima watumie kuvunja sheria, kulisha mashamba ya wenyewe, na wao wenyewe wakilalamika wanatumia nguvu na hata kuwaoa wengine. The government has declared a total war.
Juzi kuna kijana alidungwa hapa na kitambulisho ikapatikana ya mwenye alifanya nini. Tunauliza court commissioner, huyu kijana alikaa kwa nyumba akapona, hakuna hatua ilichukuliwa. Kijana bado kwa nyumba. Huyu kijana alidunga, huyu jamaa alidunga nini mzee hapa na mkuki. Sasa anajulikana na hakuna hatua imechukuliwa. Sasa hata commissioner ukituambia tutoe maoni na hakuna hatua inachukuliwa. Sisi tumekaa hapa muda mrefu sana na kila wakati ni kulia.
Ukiona ile uhuni inaendelea hapa, si wizi wa kawaida. Ni kupiga huyu, kesho wapige ule, wasukume watu, watoke kwa mashamba yao. Na hiyo kitu ya kwanza, wale watu wote walitoka mashamba yao kwa sababu ya usalama, serikali ifacilitate warudi kwa mashamba yao, manake hiyo mashamba ambayo haina watu ina attract our illegal grazers.
And 9 police officers arrested from the disbanded Special Service Unit have appealed to the Inspector General of Police to ensure a court order requiring them to undergo DNA examination is obeyed. The officers, who have been in police custody for 32 days, now say that no investigations have commenced to establish who abducted 2 Indians and a Kenyan whose bodies were found at the Aberdare mountain ranges. They insist that they were not involved in the abduction of the 2 Indian nationals. Now, their lawyers, Danstan Omari and Omayo Aranga, told journalists at Milimani Law Courts that there is an attempt to have them taken to the government chemist for a DNA test, contrary to a court order issued by a chief magistrate's court. The lawyers argue that any attempt to have the officers forcefully removed from police custody will be contrary to the law and would amount to abuse of power. The case will be mentioned on the 1st of December this year to confirm the extent of investigations.
There was a long battle before Honorable Mochache, which ended on the 10th of November, whereby the court reduced the days that the Internal Affairs was seeking through the ODPP, and it granted them 21 days. Now, out of the 21 days that the court granted them, it directed that we return to court on the 1st of December. In the meantime, the court directed that our clients, the 9 SSU unit officers, be escorted to the National Forensics Laboratory at the DCI for purpose of drawing those samples of their blood as well as their genes for purpose of matching with the items that they had recovered from Aberdares.
Remember, we are apprehensive. The 8 officers are being framed. Why change a court order by an administrative action? So we have written a letter and we have instructed our clients not to move from any police station unless they are moving to the National Laboratory at the DCI. 2, unless their lawyers are present. 3, unless their forensic scientist is present and the venue is at the National Laboratory. Any other facility outside a court order is actually perpetuating our narrative that we have been saying. These SSU people were framed. There is no evidence. They want to get the DNA samples, take them to Mount Kenya forest, put them there. They now say, yes, you are here.
And as efforts to combat climate change continue, Water and Irrigation Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome has launched a tree planting exercise in Murang'a County, Kandara constituency. Now, the initiative is aimed at planting 20 million trees in the constituency in the next 5 years. While launching the exercise in partnership with Equity Bank, Wahome asked each family in the county to plant at least 100 trees to avert the threat of desertification. A variety of fruit and indigenous seeds were distributed with the aim of encouraging the 200,000 residents to plant trees during the rainy season.
As a bank, we are going to partner with the government to plant those trees. And so far, I've told you, the bank has donated that 5 million trees with the help of our group CEO, Dr. James Mwangi. And the bank is really pushing for climate change and also to keep the country green.
Tunafurahia kwa sababu mvua imeanza kunyesha, na kwa ile kazi ya rais ya miti bilioni 5, ministry yetu ya maji na wale ambayo wote tunafanya kazi na wao, sisi tutafanya hii kazi kama mashindano, ndio tupate kuwa ni wale watakuwa laini ya kwanza, kuwa ni sisi tumepanda miti mingi sana, ndio turudishe mazingira pale inatakikana.
Now, public participation has been touted as key to efforts to conserve the environment. This can be in simple involvement of people groups and stakeholders in public spaces such as eateries and offices. One such establishment is Tulivu Restaurant in Nairobi that has embraced green spacing. This comes as environmental and urban planners call for concerted efforts by all to ensure the urban spaces are conducive for current and coming generations. Conversations around conserving the environment and ensuring our dwelling spaces are green continue to gain traction, especially among urban dwellers who are doing their best to ensure their day-to-day living spaces are green. It is with this in mind that you can find eateries in Nairobi embracing greeneries in their landscape and part of their interior decoration. Greenery that serves more to appeal aesthetically, but also to create a healthy ambience as clients get served their favorite meals. Salome Gitura, the manager of Tulivu Restaurant, says this is one of the inspirations behind the greenery of the eatery.
For us, green, it's a cool color. And environment being a lot of the plants are green and everything, you find that people love the trees and the shades and everything. So green for us is a cool color. And people will love to come to a place where they feel that there is that coolness without much, there is no noise, just coolness.
The eatery also prides itself with offering freshly grown food from the farm. This is one of the focus areas of environmental conservation in Kenya to benefit agriculture, alleviate poverty, and promote sustainable development.
We get our fresh produce from the market. We don't stock a lot of food in the freezers. We get fresh food from the suppliers. We get the vegetables, the fruits that we make we receive almost on a daily basis. So that we to ensure that what we serve here, it is fresh.
Salome urges fellow urbanites not to hesitate to improve their overall environment by embracing simple actions such as growing climbers in their backyards.
For me, I appreciate nature as it is, and I'll prefer if people planted more trees other than their houses. Even if in a place where there is concrete, that doesn't mean that you can have any greenery. You can do a lot of plants around the building, the flowers, the passion. You can do the planters, and then where you can have fresh flowers. Even if you want to farm fresh vegetables, you can do the gunias and do the vegetables there, like the sukuma wiki, the passion fruits, and there will be like the climbers all around the greenery.
While urban centers grapple with space and the concrete jungle to green the environment, Edwin Odhiambo, an environmental and urban planner, says it is still very possible to embrace environmental conservation.
I think we have a chance. Other cities and a lot of cities in the world have developed to an extent that if you want to plant a tree, you'll have to bring down a building. But we still have spaces in Nairobi, we still have spaces in Mombasa, in Kisumu. So I think we have a chance, and we have a youthful population that can can turn things around in terms of participating in the kind of cities they want to live in, because who are we building these cities for?
The environmental and urban planner points out that environmental conservation in Kenya is key to its development. And while enforcing conservation is challenging due to population pressure, raising public awareness of environmental issues could also raise support for such measures.
Every development is important for an inclusive society, despite what people are, their manners, what they want to drink, what they don't want to drink, who they believe in. I think that shouldn't hinder us from ensuring that we have spaces that people feel they're at home.
Odhiambo is further encouraging initiatives such as the classification of Kenya's urban centres in terms of most conserved in efforts to encourage public participation in environmental conservation. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Melissa Oduor. One more story on matters environmental conservation. Women and youth groups in Taita Taveta have started a mass tree planting exercise in all Taita mountains and water catchment areas to take advantage of this rainy season. According to the groups, indigenous trees will do well in that climate as they gear up to increase the forest cover. At the end of the exercise, they anticipate planting over 500,000 trees. Taita Taveta County has faced illegal logging and charcoal burning, which has affected the conservation efforts.
Sana shida ya misitu ya Taita imeletwa na mambo ya moto. Kila wakati karibu kila misitu inachomeka. Nadhani nashukuru this time yale ndio haijachomeka, lakini hizo misitu mingine kama Mwambirwa ilichomeka.
Kila mahali kwenye chanzo ya mito inaanza Taita Taveta tutapanda 50,000 seedlings in every water tower, so that in the whole county tufikishe target ya 500,000 seedlings.
The MCAs should come up with the legislation kwa county assembly, sheria ambazo zinalenga kuhifadhi mazingira.
Tumeamua na wao wenzetu tuchangie mambo ya kupanda miti hizi za kienyeji. Alafu hatutaachia hapo. Tutaendelea kuzipalilia tuhakikishe miti zimekuwa mikubwa.
I think we need to take a short break now right here on Hope TV Newswatch. We'll be back with more stories. Don't go too far.
This week on Testify.
Decided now everybody to go and look for somewhere to stay. Then I found myself going to our church in Deliverance Church Isili. And I became a church mouse. Starting from that time, for the next around, I was in church for around 9 months, sleeping in the church pews.
For 9 months?
Yes.
So what would you would wait for everyone else to go?
I will wait for everyone.
For them to put out the lights?
Yes, and then I come back.
Only on Hope TV. Look and live.
Welcome back. As schools countrywide prepare for the national exams set to begin on the 28th of November, Sitam schools have expressed readiness to accommodate grade 6 students who will be transitioning to junior secondary schools next year under the CBC curriculum. This as the teachers and management of Sitam schools Ngong in Kajiado and Woodley in Nairobi say that the Class 8 candidates are well prepared for this year's Kenya Certificate of Primary Education KCPE, which kicks off next week. Pendo Karima reports.
Sitam schools have put in adequate effort to ensure both Class 8 students and those in grade 6 are well prepared for the upcoming exams. The schools that started off with very few students can now brag at the increased number of the students in the schools currently. The Sitam school Ngong started off with 4 students and now has 847 registered pupils. Deputy head teacher at Sitam Woodley, Evelyn Shigoli, has applauded the great relationship between the parents and teachers, which she says has also contributed to the preparedness of the students.
The school is prepared right now. As you know, we have started the CBC. We have the grade 6 who are preparing for the exams next week. and we have a total of 110 pupils in grade 6 who are ready for the exam. They are well prepared, their teachers are ready, everything is set, and they're excited to do their first exam, which will move them to the junior secondary school. We're also ready for that. Our classes are ready. We are ready to start our junior secondary school. And we've had parents coming around to find out about the school from other schools. And we have given them information. The uniform is ready. Everything is set for junior secondary school.
The school has over the years recorded excellent results in the KCPE examinations in Nairobi County. Students expressed their readiness in the upcoming KCPE and grade 6 examinations.
Now, the junior secondary school is set to roll out from January 2023. We will be having the first set of grade 7, and we're expecting that all our grade 6 will translate into class or grade 7. So we are set. We are putting up our laboratory to be complete by mid-December. We have done our uniform. We have been registered by the Kenya National Examination Council. So we are set to go. And the exams are taking place from next week. That is on the 28th, 29th, and 30th. We'll be sitting for the exams, that is KEPSA exams.
On November 23rd, the Sitem School Ngong marked 10 years since its launch, with Bishop Callisto Odede presiding over the event. Bishop Odede reiterated Sitem School's commitment to having an education system that is fit, informational and transformational. He added that Sitem Schools aspire to raise intellectual, good and upright transformational leaders for the generation and beyond.
I think right now, perhaps the greatest challenge is the preparation for junior high more than for the exam. The exam, I think there's no problem. It does seem like we're going to go through that quite well. But for junior high, the question of do we have enough facilities for this? Do we have schools that can be able to take all these pupils? That for me is, I think, the greatest challenge that both the government and the private sector needs to continue working on. And we at Sitem are trying to do our best also to fill in that gap.
The Sitem Schools Ngong has been accredited by the Ministry of Education to run junior secondary school for pupils who will be sitting for the national examination on Monday before transitioning to junior secondary. For Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Pendo Karima.
Stakeholders in Narok County have raised concerns over the few cases of teenage pregnancies presented in court despite the high number of the cases reported in the county. Narok Senior Resident Magistrate in charge of Children Matters, Adelaide Sisenda, lamented that only 70 cases have been brought in court this year, yet according to a report released by the Ministry of Education, over 741 schoolgirls are expectant. Here's Tiffany Wamboi with more.
As of October 2022, Narok County reported an approximate 900 girls below the age of 18 who have visited various health facilities in search of an antenatal clinic. This number translates to roughly 10,800 dropouts as a result of teenage pregnancies every year.
Beautiful people of Narok, tunatembea siku ya leo.
It is for this reason that various stakeholders in Narok County have taken the mantle in implementing measures to reduce these cases. According to Narok Senior Residence Magistrate in charge of Children Matters, Adelaide Sisenda, the month of November has been dedicated to sensitize the community on the need to take personal responsibility and report culprits of teenage pregnancies. During the month, Sisenda affirmed that cases of expectant children will be given a priority in the court proceedings to allow timely and speedy prosecutions for their cases.
Kesi za pregnancy bado ziko nyingi, lakini kesi za FGM ndio tunajua zimepunguka sana kwa saizi, kwa sababu kama miaka 5 iliyopita kulikuwa na sherehe ile yenye msichana anaenda kutairiwa. It's a big function, ni sherehe kubwa, lakini kwa saizi wamejua ni kinyume na sheria, so kwa saizi haifanywi, na hata kama inafanywa imerudi chini na inafanywa kwa kufichwa sana. Lakini tunaungana na ngao, machief na assistant chiefs kwa ground, hao ndio wanaweza kusaidia, na pia assistant county commissioners. Hizo kesi zinaripotiwa na zinaletwa huku kotini.
Dr. Githogo Maina, a gynecologist and consultant on women matters, decried the torture undergone by teen mothers during delivery, since many are not psychologically prepared for pregnancy nor being able to take care of a child.
Normal pregnancy, even in a woman who's ready, has its own challenges. So we are getting in a person who's basically not ready to take care of a baby. Them themselves, they are still young and they are still a child, still taking care of themselves. So one, the reproductive system is still not of age. Two, mentally, she's still not of age. Three, most probably she's not ready to take care of the pregnancy. Four, most probably also she's pursuing most of the time this is the time they are still in school.
The Narok Senior Counsel at the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, Duncan Ondimwa, further assured that he is working with stakeholders to ensure such cases are well prosecuted.
We have several policy documents that are geared towards ensuring that all the prosecutors follow the required guidelines in handling children matters. For example, we have guidelines on dealing with FGM, we have guidelines on dealing with children in conflict with the law. We have all various sorts of guidelines to just ensure that all the rights of the children are catered for. And at the moment, we are, with the assistance and the collaboration of the County Commissioner Narok and the National Police Service, we are currently looking into cases of teenage pregnancies, because by mid-September, we had around 741 underage teenage pregnancy girls.
Data released by the Ministry of Health in July 2022 shows that Kenya is ranked third in the world for cases of teenage pregnancies, a matter which attracted the attention of state and non-state actors who are now calling for immediate action. Reporting for Hope TV Newswatch, I'm Tiffany Womboy.
Now, cases of human-wildlife conflict around Lake Oloidian in Naivasha, Nakuru County have become rampant, with 3 men killed by hippos in the last 1 month. The cases have been attributed to closure of wildlife corridors, encroachment of riparian land, and an increase in the number of foot fishermen in their small water body. Dolly Mwirigi Mbuvi with that story.
At least 3 men have been killed by hippos in the last 1 month in Lake Oloidian in Naivasha. The closure of wildlife corridors around the lake has made hippos hostile as they went in search of food. The closure of wildlife corridors was coupled by rising water levels, which had reduced grazing grounds for the animals. This came as stakeholders around the lake that borders Lake Naivasha challenged the Nakuru County government and the Ministry of Land to address the rising cases of encroachment. According to the Maela Ward MCA Jen Gitugu, the closure of corridors and encroachment of the riparian land was worrying and a threat to the ecosystem of the lake. She attributed the wildlife attacks of the ongoing human activity, adding that the riparian land around Lake Naivasha and Oloidian was under threat. The MCA at the same time said that the lake had not benefited residents of Maela Ward, adding that it was time that this was changed.
Ukiangalia hii beach utaona imekuwa very much encroached. Tunaomba pia serikali ikumbuke itufungulie, maana tuko na mambo mengi tunastahili kufanya hapa. Wanyama wetu hawana pahali ya kukunywa maji, watu wamefunga. Juzi tuna kijana ameua na hii kiboko kwa sababu wamefunga hii beach yote, riparian land hakuna, na nataka muangalie ile wall imeingia katika maji, na kwa hivyo wanyama na watu tumekuwa na very serious conflict.
One of the foot fishermen, Kenneth Waweru, said that they faced constant attacks of the hippos and the Kenya Coast Guard services. According to him, the recent fencing of the riparian land by investors had reduced pastures land for the hippos, forcing them to sway into neighboring farms.
Wameumwa, anakanyagiriwa chini na kiboko, anapotelea. Vijana wengi ambao wenye wako area, wengine wanategaga mguu. Hawana zile licenses, hawana zile gears ambazo ni zinafaa kwa mtu kwenda kwa maji. Akipatikana na wale Coast Guard ama fisheries, wanawashika, wanawapeleka ndani. Hiyo kitu tungeomba sana the government, our hasra, our president, tunakuomba kama unatusikiza, uweze kuingilia kati, tufunguliwe hizi riparian land na tuweze kufunguliwa zile corridors, kwa sababu kama hapa around tukiweza kufunguliwa hapa, vijana wengi watapata vibanda hapa, wengine wataweza kwenda ile beach nyingine ya Kibokoni ambayo imefungwa pale mbele. Hata hiyo ifunguliwe ili vijana wa Maela waweze kusaidika.
A resident, John Mwangi, said that the beach could not expand due to the ongoing encroachment and challenged the necessary arms of the state to act, with the other residents saying identified closure of corridors, fencing of the riparian land, and harassment of the foot fishermen were some of the challenges facing area residents.
Siku ya leo, serikali iingilie kuona ya kwamba ili hii mashamba yote imechukuliwa, imerudishwa na lake imepata pahali pazuri. Tukuwe na mahali pazuri pa kufanyia biashara.
Vijana wetu wako nyumbani na wakiwa nyumbani wanafanya mambo machafu kwa ajili ya kukosa mahali ya kushinda. Na hii vijana wako na nguvu ya kutega samaki, hata kupigia wapitanji, wanakuja hoteli zao waweke mahoteli hapa.
Dolly Marikimbuvi for Hope TV.
To the lakeside city of Kisumu, where the county government is scaling up preventive health by launching a 2-year strategy to assist the county in resource mobilization. The 2022-2024 primary healthcare strategy also aims at assisting the county in transformative implementation of primary healthcare at all levels. Speaking to the press during the launch in Kisumu County, Senior Assistant Director of Medical Services, Dr. Kennedy Otieno, said that the project aims to deal with up to 80% of the diseases within every household level. Hospitals will also be still actively offering curative services. However, the majority of the diseases will still be dealt with at the lowest level. The Executive Director of Sitawisha Dada, STADA, Patricia Orao, who is a partner in the PHC development strategy, every person, says at the family level, should take charge of their lives to avoid spending more at the curative stage.
Today we are launching the Kisumu County Primary Healthcare Strategy 2022-2024, which is an adoption of the National PHC Framework 2019-2024. And basically what we are doing is aligning responsibilities that are given to the counties to county-specific booklet or county-specific strategy that we can implement easily at the county level. What is striking about this strategy is the radical shift from curative healthcare into preventive and promotive healthcare, which should be done at individual level, household level, and at community level. That is the most important drive of the primary healthcare services. We still need hospitals for curative services, but majority of diseases, about 80%, can be dealt with at personal level and at household level and at community level.
We were the people championing, the organization championing for the strategy development, and we worked very closely with Kisumu County government through the support of PHCPI. And so we are really glad that this policy has come to life today. Okay, what is coming out clearly is that we are still in a state where we think healthcare is all about hospital service delivery. And primary healthcare really is a system that makes us introspect and look at what is health really. And so for us in the development of this policy, we are looking at health as a bigger thing than just going to hospital.
To the international scene now, a gunman has killed 6 people, including himself, following an attack at a Walmart supermarket in Chesapeake, Virginia, the USA. A man believed to be the store manager opened fire before reportedly turning the gun on himself. A local hospital says at least 5 people are being treated for their injuries there. Now, in a statement read by City Manager Christopher Price, Chesapeake Mayor Rick West says the town is devastated by the senseless violence that took place on Tuesday night. According to city officials, police officers were at the Walmart where the shooting took place within a few minutes. This as firearm deaths continue to be a fixture in American life, with almost 40,000 Americans killed by gunshots this year alone, according to Gun Violence Archive.
I know it pains all of us to be together today on this day of incredible tragedy and unimaginable sadness. Chesapeake's a wonderful place. We come together when times are good. We come together when times are difficult. I know that we're going through very, very difficult days today and in the days ahead, but we will get through this. Mayor West was unable to join us today. He's tested positive for COVID, but he has asked me to read a statement. I am devastated by the senseless act of violence that took place last night in our city. My prayers are with all of those affected, the victims, their family, their friends, and their coworkers. I'm grateful for the quick actions taken by our first responders who rushed to the scene. Chesapeake is a tight-knit community, and we are all shaken by this news. Together, we will support each other throughout this time. Please keep us in your prayers.
6 victims have died. 4 victims are in area hospitals with conditions unknown at this time. And the suspect is dead from what we believe was a self-inflicted gunshot wound. The Chesapeake Police SWAT team executed a search warrant at the suspect's residence, and with the help of the Virginia State Police, we cleared the house. We have reason to believe that there's no risk to the public at this time.
It's been days and Nairobi is still streaming with talent. Can the judges handle it? Nairobi youth showed up in large numbers to showcase their talent. Here comes the last part 4 of the Nairobi auditions. Tune in to The Rough this and every Saturday and repeat on Sundays at 2 p.m. and Fridays at 10 p.m. only on Hope TV. The Rough, identifying talent, inspiring passion.
A look at business now. African Enterprise Challenge Fund, AECF, and the High Commission of Canada in Kenya have today held a briefing on the opportunities in the African agribusiness. The meeting reflected on outcomes of the Agribusiness in Africa Window Round 2, or a 20 million Canadian dollar initiative which was implemented in 11 African countries. The project is aimed at impacting the life of 500,000 rural households, 60% of whose members are living on less than $2 per day. Michelle Macau reports.
The Agribusiness in Africa Window Round 2 program has affirmed the importance of investing in rural agro-processing infrastructure, which offers the potential to increase the volume and quality of production and create value added for smallholder farmers. African Enterprise Challenge Fund AECF Chief Executive Officer Victoria Sabula stated that the Agribusiness in Africa window was meant to support the small medium enterprises. She said the program has run across 11 countries and has supported 19 SMEs in different agricultural value chains. As the program comes to an end, AECF is now looking to support the agri-SMEs that will present inclusive business models to help rural communities adapt to climate change.
We need to think about supporting agri-SMEs that are going to present inclusive business models, helping rural communities to better adapt to climate change. And this is really looking at how farming is done, mixed farming, thinking about crops and livestock, not just crops or livestock alone.
Canadian High Commissioner to Kenya, Christopher Thornley, said that he looks forward to witnessing the growth of the Enterprise Challenge Fund as Canada and other partners continue to support small and medium enterprises in the continent, particularly those that are women-owned and women-led.
So Canada is very proud to have partnered and continue to partner with AGRA and with AECF. Your deep knowledge facilitates the achievement and sustainability of results, including increased incomes and food security. As you may be aware, you are aware because it's been mentioned already, Canada's international development financing is feminist. It places women and girls at the heart of everything we do, knowing that the empowerment of women and girls is a necessary condition for poverty reduction.
When we were getting to engage with the ACF, we were only dealing with about 3,000 farmers in the country. As I talk now, we are dealing with 10,000 farmers across the country. We are working with 22 counties out of 47 counties in Kenya. When we met with ACF, we were only dealing with 3 counties, at Mount Kenya, in the Mount Kenya region.
Michelle Macau, Hope TV Newswatch.
President William Ruto is set to launch an agri-tech farm distribution center, Twiga Foods, on Monday next week in Ruiru, Kiambu County. The distribution center, whose leasing cost up to 2 billion shillings, is expected to provide employment to more than 3,000 Kenyans. Speaking at the facility, Twiga CEO Peter Njonjo said the farm has set up collection centers across the country in Kirinyaga, Meru, Embu, Uasin Gishu, and Narok, where smallholders and farmers can deliver their produce, and is currently in business with 150,000 kiosks. Addressing the recent layoffs in the farm, Njonjo termed the move as a change in business model, which has in turn translated to the creation of more job opportunities for Kenyans, from 211 employees to 400 sales agents, with intention to have at least 1,000 sales agents by the end of March next year.
Today we operate in Kenya and Uganda. So, and our operations in Kenya and Uganda, we've been mainly operational in Kenya. We just recently launched in Uganda. And today, when I look at the number of people who are directly employed, casuals and permanent, directly employed by Twiga, is close to 3,000 people who actually are employed by Twiga. When you do the multiplier on that, you could easily see that 30 to 50,000 people get their livelihood from the work that we do here at Twiga. So, and over the next couple of years, we're now starting to work on our expansion plan. We're now we're doing some work in West Africa. There's some work that we're doing in Central Africa, because the problem that we're solving is a problem that is across the continent. And the thing is that our strategy is very, very simple. You know, at the heart of our strategy is around modernizing informal retail. How do we make informal retail modern? As I mentioned, how do we bring the mama mboga to the 21st century?
The sporting arena now. France has confirmed that defender Lucas Hernandez will miss the rest of the World Cup after injuring his knee in the defending champions' opening victory against Australia. The Bayern Munich defender tore an interior cruciate ligament in the 4-1 win over the Socceroos on Tuesday and joins a growing list injury. Ballon d'Or winner Karim Benzema was ruled out of the tournament with a left thigh injury on Saturday. Paul Pogba, N'Golo Kante and Kipembe were ruled out by injury before the team left for Qatar. Coach Didier Deschamps must now juggle his options as his squad is reduced to 24 players. And Cristiano Ronaldo is set to leave Manchester United immediately by mutual consent following his explosive interview with Piers Morgan. United issued a 67-word statement on Tuesday evening announcing that they had reached a mutual agreement with the player to terminate his contract. The decision follows a controversial interview in which the 37-year-old criticized the club and said he had no respect for manager Erik ten Hag. Ronaldo, who scored 145 goals in 346 appearances for United, left Juventus to join the Old Trafford club in August 2021, 11 years after he left to join Real Madrid. United are fifth in the Premier League in Ten Hag's first season as manager, with the season taking a break for the World Cup in Qatar. Ronaldo is with Portugal at the tournament and is set to captain them in their opening Group H game against Ghana on Thursday. And that's how we wrap it up here on Hope TV Newswatch tonight. Thank you for your invaluable company. My name is Melissa Odor. My sign language interpreter has been Fiona Mweresa. Have a blessed night.